Hey, what's going on? Luke here, and we're here to preview and do my tips for round 24 of the 2022 NRL season. Now, I'm going to try and keep this one somewhat brief, not going to go into too much detail. We're in the back end of the season. We all know how teams are playing. We all kind of have the general gist of what's happening. Top 8 is pretty much wrapped up. There's a few spots there. Top 4 is pretty much wrapped up as well. Penrith obviously wrapped up the minor premiership last week. So there's not a hell of a lot I can talk about that you don't already know. So pretty much just going to be doing my tips and predictions really rather than previewing games. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to jump straight into the first game of the round, which is the Brisbane Broncos in 8th spot up against the Parramatta Eels. Obviously a massive drop off from the Broncos over the last month or so, maybe even a little bit longer than a month. Massive drop off. Obviously they found themselves in the top 4, have dropped to the bottom half of the top 8, possibly even falling out of the top 8 as we come into the finals. But you've got the Eels as well, who have looked really good and have also looked really bad. However, as of late have looked pretty good, I would say. Yeah, in terms of picking winner for this one, I feel like Suncorp comes into play a lot, but I mean, the Broncos got absolutely towed up last week. And I sat here and I said, yeah, the Suncorp crowd really does something to the Broncos. And then the Storm came out and absolutely obliterated them. Even down to like the try that they scored at the start. You got like such a lucky break and they still couldn't do anything with it. They got absolutely smashed, but the Storm are finally sort of the Storm of old. So I'll let that one slide. However, the last couple of weeks have not been good for the Broncos. And for that reason, I'm going to be going with the Parramatta Eels. I'm going to go 1-12. I feel like they will keep it fairly close because of the Suncorp crowd. And like I said, I know I said this last week about Suncorp and it lifting the team, but I feel like this week, after an embarrassment of last week, I feel like they will hit back. And also the Eels have been playing pretty well, but this is sort of how the Eels go. I know the Eels are going into the finals and they look to be hitting their stride, and this is what you want if you're an Eels fan, but just in terms of them, you know, I still can't tip them every week and be confident in tipping them because of how they've been throughout the season and how they've been over the last couple of seasons. But Eels 1-12. On to the next game. We have the minor premiers. We have the Penrith Panthers up against the Warriors. Let me just check the Penrith side to see if everybody is playing. Jerome White is back for them, so that is a big in. Got to get some match fitness going into the finals. Obviously, Nathan Cleary is out until the actual finals, but you got one half of their little, I don't know, halves combination is the word. And up against the Warriors, like the Warriors are doing okay. They're just doing okay, like I'll say that. They're not absolutely terrible, but they're not really flying either. And a team that is flying is Penrith. So I'm going to be going Penrith 13+. That's all that really needs to be said. It's Penrith. They're not going to lose this one, not at home, not against the Warriors. On to the next game. Could be match of the round. The Melbourne Storm up against the Sydney Roosters. Two of the most informed teams coming up against each other. Obviously, Storm absolutely smashed a team last week in the Broncos. Roosters really smashed the side. West Tigers going down to their biggest defeat ever. Roosters scoring 70 points. Nat Butcher scoring 4 tries. What's going on? Nat Butcher, man. Who would have thought he would score a try, let alone 4? But yeah, this is like genuinely really hard to pick. I would say that it being a home game is making me sway more towards the Storm. I feel like a home game for them. Like whoever was the home side, I feel like is going to pick up the victory. But the Roosters, they want to keep winning, and they seem super motivated, as do the Storm, but they seem really motivated. They finally found their mojo. Been looking for it all season. They finally got it. But in terms of picking a winner, I'm going to go with the Melbourne Storm 1-12. No real confidence. Could go either way. But I think it's going to be a great game regardless. And this is probably one of the games I would have thought at the start of the season would be maybe a grand final game, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that. But yeah, I'm going to go Storm 1-12 just because it's a home game for them. But can easily see the Roosters pushing them and possibly winning. On to the next game, Super Saturday. It is the Canberra Raiders up against the Manly Warringah Seagulls. Manly, absolutely terrible. Raiders, I mean, not that much better, but they are doing better. So I'm not going to go too much into this game because who really cares? Let's be real, doesn't really mean too much. The Raiders looking to move into the top 8, and I think they have a good chance of actually getting into the top 8. So I suppose in that regards, if you're a Raiders fan, must-win game. But in terms of Manly, they have just completely fallen off. They've fallen off. And I think it all sort of stemmed from the whole Jersey fiasco, but I think it was always going to come. I mean, no Tom Trbojevic. Something had to give at some point, and it's happened. It's happened. Manly are done for the season, and I think the Raiders are going to have too much motivation, top 8 prospects and all that sort of stuff. I think they're going to get the win. I'm going to go 13+ Raiders. I think Raiders will get going, especially at home. On to the next game. The Sharkies up against my Bulldogs. Sharks going to win this one. I think pretty comfortably. I feel like the Bulldogs are kind of done this season. They had that good few couple of weeks. Mick Potter sort of did his job. We got the confidence going. I feel like we'll push the Sharks, but I can't see us winning. Sharks are just in too good a form. I feel like the Bulldogs are playing. They're not getting wins, obviously. And, we did get towed up last week by the Eels, but they still show little glimpses where they're not totally terrible. And I feel like there's just a few little missing pieces that will be there next year. I think the Doggies got a great little side going next year. But in terms of a great side, that is the Sharks this year. Definitely pushing for a grand final spot, in my opinion. But for them to be doing that, they need to be smashing a team like the Bulldogs, and I think that's what they're going to do. As much as it pains me, I'm sitting here with a Bulldogs hat on. I think the Sharks are going to win this one 13+. That's what it really comes down to. It's a home game for them. They got all the motivation in the world. They're going to win this one 13+. They're just going to win. On to the last game of Super Saturday. South Sydney Rabbitohs up against North Queensland Cowboys. This should be a very, very good game. Cowboys hit back last week. Fantastic performance. Rabbitohs can be good. Obviously, last week, they blew the game pretty much right at the end of the game. One of the last plays. Against the top of the table, the team that just won the minor premiership. And I know it was a weakened side, but at the same time, this is a team. This is a well-oiled machine. Penrith, and I know a lot was said about it being the grand final rematch last week, but Rabbitohs, although it is coming into the final, still finding their feet. Like, Latrell hasn't been back that long, and they do have a couple of inexperienced players in the spine. Like, they are finding their feet, and I think some weeks are going to be really, really good. Other weeks, they're not going to be that good. And last week, they were still pretty darn good, and they nearly got the job done against the best team in the comp. In terms of picking winner for this one, though, it's 7th up against 2nd. I'm still sort of leaning towards the Rabbitohs, weirdly enough. Like, Cowboys are in 2nd spot, but I don't know if I would necessarily say they're the 2nd best team in the comp, despite where they are on the table, and especially being an away game. Last week was their first home game since the whole Paul Green thing, so there was a lot of motivation. All of the players played under him. I don't think they'll have that this week, and I think the Rabbitohs will be itching to, get back on track is probably the best way to put it. And I think they will. I honestly think they will. I think it'll be a close one. I think the Cowboys will push them, but I think the Rabbitohs are going to win this one at home, 1-12. Seem to be going with a lot of the home sides. Have I picked an away side yet? I have not picked an away side yet, so we're going with all the home teams so far. There's a trend until this game, which is the West Tigers up against the St. George Illawarra Dragons. I'll be taking the Dragons for this one. Tigers in last spot. Tigers not really doing much. Dragons not really doing much either, but I actually don't mind the side that they've got. Jaden Sullivan, Bud Sullivan in at the hooker position. I actually don't mind that. Ben Hunt, Amon is going all right. Cody Ramsey's been okay. Like, they've got an okay side. They're not terrible. Where they are on the ladder is probably where they should be. But in terms of the Tigers, I feel like they've got a much better side than the Tigers, and I think they'll get the job done. I don't think it'll be pretty, but I think the Dragons will win this one. I think the Tigers at home will really push them, but I'm not going with the home side for once. I'm going with the Dragons for this one, 1-12. Now moving on to the last game, we have the Gold Coast Titans at home up against the Newcastle Knights. I'm going with the Titans for this one. I'm not sure why I did the pause just then, but let's just roll with it. Titans been okay the last couple of weeks, a lot better, a lot more improved. David Feeder's looking all right. Knights, they got a win a couple of weeks ago, and that's the Knights. Titans, a lot of potential, haven't lived up to the potential, find themselves in 15th. This is 15th up against 14th. It's not the Spoon Bowl, but it's the prelims for it. It's nearly the Spoon Bowl. Both these sides could easily win the wooden spoon. I wouldn't really look at it and be like, I'd be like, yeah, that's pretty fitting. Both these sides suck. So this is probably going to be a sucky game, and I think the Titans are going to win this one. I actually think the Titans will win it well in the end. I think they'll run away with it, 13+ for me. But like if the Knights came out and win, it wouldn't be too phased, because I'd be like, oh, well, Knights can do it sometimes. So can the Titans sometimes. Both can be as bad as each other. So I'm going to go Titans for that one. But guys, those are my tips and predictions for this round of the 2022 NRL season. Let me know in the comments section below. What are your thoughts on my tips? Are they terrible? Do you like them? Do you just hate them? Do you think I'm the worst? Let me know in the comments section below. Don't tell me I'm the worst. But let me know in the comments section below what are your thoughts on my tips and predictions. And what are your tips and predictions? Because I could use them. I am not doing too well this year. So let me know your tips and predictions. Maybe I'll be swayed a little bit. Anyways, guys, if you happen to enjoy this video, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, make sure you use the notification bell. Don't rely on those sub boxes. Use the notification bell and never miss any of my videos. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and chuck me a follow on social media. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke and YT for the most part. But Facebook's Mr. Luke, but everything else, including Snapchat, including TikTok, is Mr. Luke and YT. Give me a follow, give me an ad. Also, go ahead and become a member of the channel. We've had a fair few members over the last couple of months. Shout out to everybody who's continue to be a member or have become a member. Very much appreciated. It keeps the channel afloat. Gives me a lot of motivation to keep making videos and such. So thank you so much. Honestly, from bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you to everybody who's a member. And guys, that's where I'm going to wrap this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, doing that sort of stuff. And stay tuned for more content on the channel. We're really going to be ramping things up over the next couple of weeks, especially with the finals coming up. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next one. See yous.